This is your program, the flagship program of the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE, on television. That educative and enlightening program, previously known as OTNA, now rebranded and more open to the intuition of Nigerians. It's a new season, and it's now called Open, Optimizing Public Enterprises in Nigeria, and still powered by the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE.
Brings me great pleasure to officially inaugurate the National Council on Privatization.
Basically, the mandate is one of commercialization, privatization, optimizing government investment.
I am Ayodeji Belay, the Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprises. Welcome to a new year and a new season of Open, Optimizing Public Enterprises in Nigeria. On behalf of the Bureau, I extend my heartfelt best wishes to every Nigerian as we step into this season of unity, hope, and collective progress. Together, under the visionary leadership of Mr. President, we have achieved considerable milestones in reforming public enterprises and repositioning our economy, and we remain steadfast in our commitment to creating opportunities for growth, development, and shared prosperity. Let us join Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, in embracing the new year with renewed hope and a collective resolve to build a more prosperous Nigeria. From all of us at the BPE, we wish you and your loved ones peace, joy, and abundant blessings in the year ahead.
Welcome. This is Open. Welcome to Open, Optimizing Public Enterprises in Nigeria. We're so glad to have you join us in this new season on Open. It promises to be informative and enriching. The Bureau's perseverance in steering economic reforms in Nigeria is fostering innovation and optimizing public enterprises in Nigeria. And this is one of the mandates of the BPE, which has been extraordinarily carried out and achieved. This is Open, Optimizing Public Enterprises in Nigeria. Glad to have you join us on Open, Optimizing Public Enterprises in Nigeria. My name is Tokbe Ojime. Today on the program, we will be telling you the stories of economic reforms carried out by the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE. We will be showcasing optimized enterprises in Nigeria. Let's begin with the hospitality sector, where some of the public enterprises have been optimized, and the results simply amazing. Take a look. This is Open, Optimizing Public Enterprises in Nigeria. Let's get to look at our ports. Before now, a lot of people have been worried about ports in Nigeria. But with the Bureau of Public Enterprises coming in, a lot of optimization coming in, the difference, as they say, is now clear. Let's now go to the power sector. And first catching our attention is the Geregu Power PLC, a gas power generation plant located at Ajaokuta, Kogi State.
Part of the upgrade that was done was to replace some components for the automation system. Now, you can see this component is no longer obsolete. SBPA 3000, that was where the new component was replaced and put the new model, and this is the latest model in automation system, part of the upgrade. It was T2000 from Telepen XP to SPPA 3000. So that cabinet completely was removed. Same thing with the firefighting.
What improvement has this brought?
This one has brought in the increase in 145 megawatts to control it. 2, the emission control to the atmosphere. Then 3, also ease of operation and diagnosis. This one has bring a very serious improvement. And again, the parts now are available, unlike the other one that is becoming obsolete. You know, technology is not stable. This is the old one. This one is the old one. It was completely removed. And the upgraded one is this. You can see.
The company did not lay people off. They returned anybody to continue doing their own work, normally as we were doing before. So this company is one of the few companies that retained their staff without sacking them.
Yes, yes, yes. See the smile on my face, because I'm eager to see more optimization, and I can guess you're also eager to see more as midwifed by the Bureau of Public Enterprises. Now, let's go to Mainstream Energy Solution Incorporated and licensed as a power generating company in 2011. Here, we'll get to know about the Kainji Hydro Power Plant.
This is the control room where all action takes place, where all the equipments, the plant, the units, the generators, and all other equipments are being operated.
Now, to ensure the optimal safety of this dam, and considering the volume of water that has been impounded here, which is about 12 billion cubic meters of water behind this structure, Mainstream, as part of its safety measures in managing the dam, undertook an assessment of the structure. The assessment included ensuring that the spillway gates are functioning optimally, and all the instruments that are embedded in this structure for the purpose of monitoring the safety of this asset were all rehabilitated. That was the first thing we undertook, even before the commencement of the rehabilitation of the generating units.
No doubt, success is sweet. And talking about success stories of the optimization of enterprises in Nigeria is certainly something the Bureau of Public Enterprises continues to be open to. We cannot fail to talk about the Sunti Golden Sugar. Sunti Golden Sugar operates one of the biggest sugar refineries in Nigeria, with a capacity to produce 750,000 metric tons of sugar per annum. Production capacity has consistently increased over the years, and the results simply amazing. Thank you for joining us. And now we have with us the Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE, Mr. Ayodeji Ariyo Bilei. Thank you very much, sir, for having time to join us.
Thank you very much, Topper, for having me.
Yes, sir. So we know that your duty is reforms, and a major question Nigerians would like to know, especially at this time in the new year, is what are the primary objectives and goals of the federal government, and by extension the BPE, in reforms and privatization and commercialization? And I'd like to put this in context. People think that what the BPE does is just to sell off government assets, as against what reforms really is. So educate us in this regard.
So essentially, privatization programs are being used all over the world for economic liberalization and for sectoral reform of critical sectors of any nation's economy. Remember the big privatization by late Prime Minister in the UK, Margaret Thatcher, which ensured that a lot of government or public enterprises were transferred or were sold to private sector for greater efficiency and effectiveness in terms of what they do. So in Nigeria, the idea of privatization has been around with us for almost 40 years. It started out in 1988 with then Technical Committee on Privatization and Commercialization, if you recall, the TCPC, which carried out a lot of reform programs, a lot of sectoral reforms in the banking sector, for example. All of the interest of government in the banking sectors were sold to Nigerians, and today we have a banking sector that is thriving. Then fast track to 1999 came the enactment of the Public Enterprises Act 1999, which now brought into being the Bureau of Public Enterprises, with the primary focus on economic liberalization through the privatization and commercialization of public enterprises, and in so doing also embark on reform of critical sectors of the economy. Recall that one of the very first such initiative was the reform of the telecom sector. We were then in the era where we had an incumbent monopoly, Nitel, which was on the fixed line in terms of provision of telecom services, and Mobitel, which was also on the mobile network line in that era. But today, what do we have with the reform of that sector from under 500,000 fixed lines in the country at that time? We have close to 200 million active subscriber base in the country today. Today, we have a sector that is much more competitive, that delivers, quality service to customers, and the job opportunities that they provide as well. You can't compare it with what only Nitel by itself would have done. Think about the era when we had the issue of pension liabilities and pension arrears. These again, the pension reform was championed and undertaken through the Bureau of Public Enterprises. Again, you look at power sector, we used to have NEPA, we used to have the Power Holding Company of Nigeria. Liberalization was undertaken in that sector, and that led to privatization of 11 electric distribution companies. About 6 generation companies were also privatized as a result of that exercise. Transcorp is also an example in the hospitality sector of reform and privatization program of government. That entity is listed today Transafam Power is also another success story. Geregu is a good story where Nigerians now own shares compared to what it would have been if it had been government running it alone.
But as nice as this looks, I'm sure there must be challenges. Would you share with us, DG, what challenges you've encountered, the Bureau of Public Enterprise has encountered, and how these challenges have been resolved?
So privatization or commercialization programs are not a tea party. It requires the support of all stakeholders. There must be an alignment of vision from the topmost level of authority, right through parliament, right through critical stakeholders like workers, like communities where those programs are taking place. So typically what we do is we will develop a stakeholder engagement plan and program that we run through and ensure that every critical stakeholder is carried along in every step of the way.
Now, the privatization program, as beautiful as it is, one would wonder, how does this really contribute to the economic growth generally, in terms of employment, in terms of job generation, and so on?
So I said earlier on about the classical story of the reforms in the telecom sector. You could imagine the number of staff that were employed when it was only Nitel and MTEL. You can imagine the number of skill set development or skills acquisition that have taken place since the advent of telecoms some 23 years ago compared to where we are today. If you think about some of these things, you will realize that the ordinary man is also benefiting from this program.
All right. Now, the engagement with stakeholders and the feedback you get from them will be something of interest. So how has engagement been? What do you do? And what's the feedback been so far?
There is always a strategic stakeholder engagement plan for every privatization program in which every critical stakeholder is, onboarded from the beginning of the privatization program. We will not go into an enterprise without having an inception meeting with all critical stakeholders, whether it is labor, even parliamentarians. We have oversight committees in both chambers of the National Assembly that are responsible for our activities. And every step of the way, we carry them along in our programs. We even engage on oversight visits with them because on behalf of Nigeria, they are the representative of Nigerians. They also go and visit some of these privatized enterprises to ensure that the intentions and the objectives of privatization programs are also being achieved.
This is a new year, and everyone will be wondering, what does the future hold?
So in terms of the future and what we'll be doing, focus will be on some of the big sectorial reforms, like the oil and gas sector. For example, we will be working very closely with all the critical stakeholders from the topmost part of government through to the ministry, through to NNPC. We're looking at the mining sector. Where we speak today, we have developed a concept note for the reform of the mining sector in line with the African Union mining vision. There is also the Nigerian electricity supply industry itself, where we have the DISCOs, where we have the GENCOs, and a reset is going on in that sector. For example, the Transmission Company of Nigeria is being unbundling based on the Electricity Act of 2023, signed by President. We are now unbundling Nigerian Independent System Operator from TCN, so that TCN can now focus on its core mandate as a transmission service provider, managing the infrastructure. We're also working very closely with the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development in terms of concessioning of 5 airport terminals. Those are the international airports: Lagos, Abuja, Enugu, Port Harcourt, and Kano.
Can you tell Nigerians how much support you're getting in terms of legality for most of these jobs?
The right legislative and regulatory framework is in place for privatization and commercialization of public enterprises in the country, which is with the enactment then in 1999 of the Public Enterprises Act, which provides the necessary legal and regulatory framework for our activities. Of course, we act as the secretariat of the National Council on Privatization, which is the highest decision-making and policy-making organ of privatization and commercialization program in the country. It is chaired by His Excellency the Vice President, and then the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, with 11 other members, making a total of 13 members, including myself on that council. It also includes 4 private sector individuals who are practitioners, who are technocrats of the highest caliber you can have them, and then, of course, other ministers, including the CBN governor, also on that council.
This certainly gives hope, and we're talking about renewed hope in the new year. So what message would you want to convey to Nigerians to ensure that buy-in from everybody to see that Nigeria really enjoys what it should enjoy?
So for us at the BPE, we take a cue in all that we do from His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's GCFR's Renewed Hope agenda, anchored on 8 pillars, of which the targets, and the focus are around creating an economy, a GDP of $1 trillion economy by 2030. Of course, you also know that one of the targets is also to have an economy that grows at a minimum of about 7% GDP growth rate per annum, reduce poverty by 100 million people, take 100 million people out of poverty, create about 50 million jobs, and of course, create an economy that works for everybody.
And we do pray and hope that with all this work on ground, the future becomes brighter than we can ever think. So we all say amen.
Thank you very much.
Let me thank you, DG, for giving us this opportunity to speak with you, and wishing you, as you've already wished Nigerians, a prosperous new year for us all.
Thank you, and I wish you same.
Thank you. And that's been our chat with the Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE. Driven by a relentless pursuit of progress, the Bureau of Public Enterprises recognizes that optimizing public enterprises in Nigeria is not a static goal, but an ongoing journey, one that requires constant innovation, collaboration, and perseverance. And that's where we draw the curtains on today's edition of Open, Optimizing Public Enterprises in Nigeria. On behalf of the team, till we come your way again next week, same time, on this same station, my name is Tokpe Ojeme. It's bye for now.
Open. Optimization on the go.